Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Polar Bears International and Explore.org Beluga boat. If this is your first time tuning in on Thursday, July 11th, we are located in Churchill, Manitoba, currently broadcasting from the water just at the tip of the Churchill River, meeting up with the Hudson Bay. This is our first live day out this season, so we're really excited to be kicking off a couple days early. We do want to acknowledge, of course, that we are operating on Treaty 5 territory, the traditional homelands of the Cree, Dene, Inuit, and Métis people of Canada. And we're very excited to tell you that we've already seen some belugas. The weather is beautiful, and we're super excited to have you join us today. We started our boat trip this morning with a quick run out to the bay here, looking for some sea ice. We were out on the boat 2 days ago, and we're very lucky to be blessed with some growlers and bergy bits and some ice floe out here. Okay, can you just text? Yeah, say trying other mic. Tell me when I'm good to go. Okay, actually, I'm going to turn the boat around first. No ice. Okay. Same drill, yeah? Yep. Okay. I'm on. Oh, was that thing on mute? I should check that. Hold on. No. Okay, I'm going. Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Explore.org and Polar Bears International Beluga boat. If this is your first time tuning in, this is Captain Tara on July 11th here in the Churchill River, right at the mouth of Hudson Bay in Manitoba, Canada. We're very excited to start broadcasting with you a couple days early this year. The conditions have been wonderful, so we've been able to get out on the river and catch up with our old friends, the beluga whales. Before we get going, I just want to acknowledge that we're operating on Treaty 5 territory, traditional homelands of the Cree, Dene, Inuit, and Métis people of Canada. If it's your first time tuning in, our activities for the day are just going to be broadcasting some beluga whales. I'm very excited to report that they have joined us a little bit early this year. I was out yesterday and the day before testing some things with the boat, and we've seen quite a few whales, and including some babies. I'm excited to have Kai, a summer intern, joining me on the boat today as we maneuver our way up and down the river. So if you guys are watching the underwater cam right now, you'll notice I'm just still broadcasting out of the water. We did want to come out to the mouth of the bay to look for some sea ice floes, as it was here a couple days ago. Unfortunately, we had some heavy winds yesterday blowing from the west, and it looks like it has blown our sea ice further away than our boat here is willing to go. So I'm going to head back into the river to where we've seen the beluga whales gathering. And after we finish our high-speed run, I'll make sure to drop that underwater camera. But in the meantime, on deck camera, you're going to see our entry to the Hudson Bay itself. You can see that we're a little bit overcast today, but the weather's quite lovely, and our sea state is leaving us nothing to complain about today. So enjoy the ride while we get to further south into the river, and I will come back with Kai. But I want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today. Did he say anything?
Nope. So we're good. Do I need to check back, or are we good?
They'll 101, it's like the number one thing that I like. I used to go like this all the time. Like where you take a pause and you click your tongue. I used to do that all the time. I don't do that anymore as much, I think, but I do say a lot and use more translation. I'd like to see. Thursday, July 11th. Okay, good. Somebody's posted.
Okay.
So excited to catch Beluga Camp for the first time. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to miss those due to time zone. And I'll have to watch the rewind. Saw some over there, but none in front of me. I feel like these markers are in different spots this year. Welcome, stop launch. RTC Ice Day. P1 Tours. So, me. So here's what's wild. I came, okay. Let me start at the beginning.
Okay.
I lived in Jasper after I graduated high school for 4 years, like 20 years ago. Made lots of friends there, whatever. Some of the friends I made there, like probably about 5 of them, happened to work in Churchill as tundra buggy drivers and have for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So even if like
seasonally.
the current like tundra buggy drivers, I bet you I know 4 of them from Jasper.
Yeah.
5 actually, probably. And they've been doing it for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. Obviously sounds like a really cool thing. And you're like, I'm gonna go until you figure out how hard it is to get here, and then you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I kept in touch with these friends, Facebook, whatever. And I always said to my one friend, Neil, I said, I'm gonna come visit you. I'm gonna come visit you. But I worked in industrial construction, so the vacation, there was no vacation time, and if it was, I usually went overseas. So anyways, in 2018, I ended up getting a job, and I was working in Regina. So it dawned on me that, like, because there's a polar bear season, right? So I was there, and there's like long weekend, and I was like, fuck, I could drive to Winnipeg, which would save me flying to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And then get on the plane and whatever from there. So like, and then I could do it for like 5 days or whatever, and still get back to work and not have to take all my holidays, which would have been very different if I was in Alberta, obviously, right? So I contacted my friend Neil. He's not the most like it's hard to plan anything with Neil. He's one of those guys like, the internet, like it's just, I don't know, like. Anyways, he was very like, yeah, come, but he's also as simple as like, well, I said yeah, like, and I was like, well, where do you live? How do I get there? What's your schedule? All the things. So I get there, I get here. I managed to get on like a charter flight. Like he asked somebody, and I got like a free flight up on a charter plane, which was rad. And that was just absolute luck of the draw. I couldn't believe it. I think it's because I was here like really end of season, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Right there.
and then hey buddies, baby. Then I like slept on his couch, ironically in a staff house that I lived in for a little bit last year. So like 8 people lived there. It's all buggy drivers. I was like crashing on the couch. Everybody was very nice. I bought them lots of beer and some things. And then I got to go on like a few buggy tours. I kind of had like a day to my own devices in town, and then like I fucking left. Like I barely even got to see my friend other than nighttime, and like, I'd want to go out and do stuff, and he's like, I can come for a bit, Tara, but like I gotta be like on with people for 12 hours a day. Like I can't stay up and be hungover. So I'd only see him like a little bit and made friends and hung out, and I just like Churchill got in my heart, and I was like, this always like, the running joke was like, if any of my friends were doing something fun, I was always like, should I quit my job? Should I quit my job? And after I left here, I was like, fucking Neil, I'll quit my job. What do I need? What do I need to get? He's like, well, I'd probably start with like a personal like pleasure craft license. Yeah. Which you can do on the internet. So like I left Churchill and I have my pleasure craft license. And it's really funny because like it's dated like November 18th. Like, and I was here until like the 15th, and then I got home and I went 18th. I'm like, hey, I got that. Now what? He's like, I don't know, man. You just gotta like apply for the jobs. When do they come out? Like I was, and he's like, leave me alone. So I started following a little bit more Churchill whenever. I check in once in a while, but the way my job work is like I'd be on a project and I'd be on that project for like a year or something. So obviously I never quit my job. I never whatever. I looked into quitting and moving to Jasper and being a raft guide again, and again like that just didn't happen for me. I couldn't find a place to live with my dog. Like just life didn't. Things weren't falling into place. Well, then flash forward to like 3 years ago, I meet Gentry, we quit our jobs, and my dog dies. So I always said I was never going to go work on boats until my dog passed away. Yeah. So he died at 13 and a half, and Gentry and I started looking at boats more seriously, and we found one right away, and ultimately bought it, and yes, it's fine. The volume a bit low. Okay. There's something. So, anyways, we're living the boat life. We left on September 1st. And so by the time, we do the winter season in Mexico as you do, and then we decided we were going to cross the ocean, but we're like, there's a big pond up here on the right. Right close as well. So we decided we're going to redo our rigging before we cross the ocean, but that's very expensive. Like if you pay someone to do it, it's $10,000. Yeah. But if you do it yourself, you buy all your material for 2 or 3, and you're saving all this money, right?
Is boat one of those things where like any small thing is expensive?
Yeah. If it has marine attached to it, like mark it up 300%.
Yeah.
So Gentry ended up, he's like, well, if we go home, because he runs a crane business, he's like, I can get the wire from one of my suppliers, then we just have to figure out how to get it down, but like I'll get it 1,000 times cheaper. Yeah. So he's like, well, if we're gonna go home to get the parts, like I can write some of it off, but like we're there, maybe we shouldn't work. Like maybe I should work. Yeah. And he's like, if we work for the summer, then it's not coming out of our like savings to sail the world. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, like a few $1,000 makes a big difference, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, if you're gonna go to work, what am I gonna do? I don't want to go back to safety. I'm certainly not calling that company I just quit. Like, F no. And the timing of it was magical. Like, and then it was like the next day, like, bing, I saw something on Facebook. I'm like, oh yeah, Churchill. So then I'm like aggressively like messaging my friend again. I said, when that works out, like, what's the timing for that? And he's like, it starts at this. He's like, they're probably gonna start sending out. I said, cool. If you see anything, just let me know, but I'll keep an eye out for it. So sure enough, I see the things, and then he's sending me the links, and I actually first applied to Sea North only because they put out their job postings sooner. Yeah. So it was like, okay, I gotta get my resume together. Okay, so let's cut this down. So we don't run the camera. We try to run it with the 25.
Is it just bubbles or?
Not really. Just to make sure somebody doesn't accidentally go really fast. Between you and me, you'll see. I might switch back to the 115 at idle. Because the 25 like it feels rougher, right? Okay, so let's try. so I was getting my resume together because obviously, like, I don't have a big boat history thing. And then he sent me the Builders International one. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Captain Tara returning for another season here on the Churchill River with the Explore.org and Polar Bears International Beluga boat. We've made our way back into the river now, so I'm able to drop the underwater camera. And we're just doing a little bit of mic checking. So I'm going to get my current guest, Kai, working with Polar Bears International this summer. Kai, why don't we try mic number 2 and you can go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Good morning, or good whatever time of day it is. I hope this mic is working. I'm Kai. I've been working this summer with Polar Bears International. I'm an intern, and it's so great to be out in Churchill right now. It's a beautiful day, and we've already seen lots of belugas, and hopefully more to come.
Indeed. Thanks, Kai. We'll just make sure we'll turn off that mic as we switch, so hopefully there's no echoing for the viewers. I was out 2 days ago, and I saw, it seemed like our largest pod of whales was quite south in the river. Looked like they were doing some feeding on some of the capelin fish. Unfortunately, I don't think our mics are working too well. If there's a murmur, we're gonna just start fresh with the mics. We'll unpack and repack and see if that helps. Please stand by. Hello, I'm back. So this is what those soft starts are about for all our listeners out there. This is why we're having a soft start today. We have verified that our internet and broadcasting distances have been working the last couple days. Today we're going to verify the mics and make sure that we don't have any personal work to do there. Bit of a process getting back into that chatting that we enjoy on the Churchill River here. So bear with us as we're in and out trying different mics. We'll keep it up until we get the 2 thumbs up from our amazing operators doing all that work behind the scenes, managing our cameras and making sure our mics work and our volume's good and that everyone can hear us. But again, just for everybody who's looking at the message board and watching those cameras, I just want to say welcome back. We're so excited. I'm the most excited to be back this year. And we are going to have our official kickoff on Arctic Sea Ice Day. Again, those cam operators and behind the scenes electronics extraordinaires have posted the schedule for the week on the explore.org message board. So you can see all our times, our tide times for the next few days, right up until Arctic Sea Ice Day next week, where we'll, like I said, have an official kickoff. Looks like, unfortunately, we won't have any sea ice to show this year. But fingers crossed, if the wind comes up and starts blowing the other direction, maybe with a stroke of luck, we will see some. Hey everyone, I have just refreshed my message board and thank you for the feedback. I see Eagle Nut, Suze W, UCLA Mom, oh, UCLA Mom. Sorry, sound that stuff out. Thank you very much for your feedback, you guys. I really appreciate that. I should have refreshed my message board sooner. Oh, and I see somebody is, oh, Arctic Fox, hi. Hi, good to see you again. And thank you for sharing a picture of your dog. And happy birthday to that big bopper. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, good to see some familiar names out there. Really happy to be back. Some of you might remember I am traveling from some warmer climates. We are still down in Mexico. We did not cross the ocean this year. Plans for next year. But enjoying wearing socks and long sleeve shorts again. So thank you. Thank you for returning this year. I'm so happy to see some of those names. And I look forward to spending this season with you guys. So excited. Captain Kyron will be back. He'll be kicking off Arctic Sea Ice Day. So we look forward to hearing him on the mic. And we're going to have some of our returning guests from last year, from the Assiniboia Park Zoo. Some of our Beluga Bits scientists are coming back. So hopefully we'll get to hear from Stefan this week and a couple of his colleagues. So I'm really excited. He's returning as he's kind of my favorite resident beluga whale expert. So I'm really happy that they'll be joining us for a couple weeks again. And then, of course, some of our PBI staff and returning favorite names. And again, this time we've got Kai, who's our summer intern. So now that I know both of the mics are working, Kai, why don't you talk to our viewers here about the awesome work you're doing to help put some of the data we're collecting with our cameras and the BearDAR, and how you're going to help turn that into some educational systems. But I will let you explain it best. Here's Kai, everyone.
Sure. So, as you may know, Polar Bears International, we have lots of different education outreach resources, both for teachers, for classrooms, and for anyone who just wants to learn more about polar bears and the Arctic sea ice they depend on. One of our favorite things throughout the fall seasons, we broadcast live from our tundra buggy called Buggy One. Every week throughout polar bear season, you'll see our Tundra Connections broadcasts. You can watch them through our YouTube channel or on our website. And they're great ways to learn more about some of the great adaptations about polar bears, moms and cubs, the great research that Polar Bears International and other scientists are doing with polar bears across the Arctic. And yeah, that's one of my favorite outreach programs that Polar Bears International does.
Okay, folks, I think that's maybe enough from us for a little bit here this morning. I'm going to turn my attention to seeing if I can't spot that pot of whales from yesterday. But again, welcome back to all our new and old Beluga buddies. Again, it's just a dream come true to be back here, and I know, the whales are on their way in, but my judgment from the other day is that we've definitely got a few hundred at least in the river so far. So those numbers are just going to go up as time goes on, and hopefully we get some more of those blue sky sunny days where they're super easy to spot. But welcome back, Beluga buddies. It's going to be an awesome summer. Okay, folks, with the gray skies today, it's a little bit harder to spot those pods, but I think I've got eyes on where they are feeding today. So we're going to make our way over to the west side of the river, and I'll see if I can't get beside that, and maybe we'll get some footage on the underwater cam. But for now, keep your eye on the on-deck cam, and as soon as we sort of maneuver the boat to get alongside the whales, I think you should be able to see a whole bunch of little white humps. Just a reminder to any new viewers out there, we've seen a lot of seals this year. So we just spotted one up in front of us. But I know when Kyron was out on the boat a couple days ago and the one day I was out, we were seeing some of those harbor seals, and Kyron had even seen a couple ring seals up on the ice. So if you're seeing little black dots poke out of the water, that's probably a seal. They seem like they're in abundance, and here with the belugas searching for capelin. So we haven't yet seen our invasion of terns. There's a couple out there, but as far as wildlife, definitely belugas and some seals, and the odd gull and tern here and there. If you see two birds fighting, they might be terns, and if they're just white and happy floating around, they're probably seagulls. We are coming up on some belugas here, so I'll see if I can't maneuver so that they're behind us, and then we'll get them on that cam for you guys. Yay! Welcome to the 2024 Beluga season with Explore.org and Polar Bears International. So I'm making my way closer to the west side of the river here, and I believe as I turn the boat, We'll want to be looking off the port or the left side of the boat, and we'll see some of the whales. They're doing a good job of kind of hiding in little foam patches, but they're definitely there, popping up and down. So as I turn here, we should be able to see some off the port side and then the back of the boat as we make our way forward. Hey, just to answer a couple comments I noticed on the message board there. We do turn the mics off. When we have our beluga whales in abundance, we can usually hear them and their sounds that they make. As some of you guys know, the beluga whales are known as the canaries of the sea. So they do make a lot of noises, and we've got our hydrophone on, so we don't like to talk through that when we have the opportunity. And sometimes it's just nice to enjoy the water views. So not necessarily losing sound, just not talking 100% of the time. I did just want to shout out another old friend from last year. I see Buffykins and Stilling on the board. So hi friends, welcome back. It's great to see you guys still involved in the projects. Noticing a fantastic picture of our green water there, as we are at this time of year. But yeah, we're in the zone here with the whales. They're hiding in the foam. I've seen a couple moms and babies off both my port and starboard side. So just trying to maneuver into a place where hopefully you guys can see them better off the back cam. But happy to be out. Happy to see our beluga friends back in the river. Hey, friends. Welcome back, Beluga Buddies. Looks like we got a question from UCLA Mom, wondering if there's any polar bears in Churchill right now. So, I personally have been here less than a week, and I have not seen a polar bear. Kai, have you seen a polar bear yet?
No, I haven't either.
Okay. However, I can tell you that some of the resident polar bear whisperers, if you will, have seen one or two. I don't know where they have seen those bears yet. I was wondering if there wasn't one maybe by the Cape, but when we took our drive out to the Hudson Bay, we didn't see any while we were there, and then we came back quickly to get into the river. So they are starting to come back to land. I've heard that from some locals that you know, they're not in town or anything like that, but definitely starting to come off that sea ice now and reside in land. So I think my best guess is that maybe one or two have been spotted in the surrounding area, but nothing currently close enough to us, at least, to worry about. But as some of you know, as summer goes on, we will most likely start to see more bears around town and maybe even on the cameras. But I'm very happy to report that the sea ice stuck around a lot longer this year than it did last year. Last year was a very early melt to the sea ice, which was a bit disappointing. I know it was one of the earlier years in our most recent history that the sea ice was declared broken up. This year, significantly longer. Still waiting on that official date from Environment Climate Change Canada. So once we have that date, I'll certainly let you know, but I'm guessing it's going to be at least 2 to 3 weeks longer than last year. So really good for polar bears, really good for beluga whales, and really good for humans. Just wonderful news when that sea ice sticks around as long as possible. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to post them on the message board. We are here to help where we can, and especially as we get our scientists and Beluga Bits citizen science experts from the Assiniboia Park Zoo here in Manitoba on the boat. We'll have them to also pester with our hard questions that we can't find answers to. So feel free to post on the message board. We do monitor that as we are moving through the river searching for our beloved beluga whales. Hey folks, I am just going to go ahead and lift up that underwater camera. I think I'm going to switch motors here and maybe make our way closer to the mouth because I am not finding that group of feeding belugas that I saw the other day. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker and head to a different location. So you see that underwater camera coming up. Do not be alarmed. I will put it back down once we reach our destination. Looks like we're seeing quite a few belugas actually off our port side. They're a little spread out, but I think between Kai and I, we've counted about 20 so far. It does look like they are busy feeding, and for our longtime viewers, as you know, when they're feeding, they definitely engage less with the boat. But still quite nice to see them popping up and down. And if you watch closely, for any new viewers, you'll see the white belugas as our adult belugas. And oftentimes you will see a little gray one, which can be anywhere from an adolescent right up to a baby. So if you happen to see two belugas together, know that you are catching some of the youth of the generation. Oh, you guys, I think we just caught our first beluga on camera on the underwater cam. I just saw one swim by, so hooray! We're currently just floating. I'm not moving at all, and they seem to sort of be just like swimming and feeding around us. So we'll stay here for a little minute and see if they hang out with us. Hey, friends. We're just on the move, going nice and slow, heading south on the Churchill River here in Churchill, Manitoba, if you're just tuning in. And we do have some scattered whales all around us. I can no longer tell you which way to look. They're kind of everywhere. They seem very docile today. There's certainly no large feeding frenzy of activity happening. The whales we are seeing are just moving very slowly and very mellow. They seem to sort of just be enjoying this mellow, calm, gray sky day. Again, I just took a break to put a sweater on, but it is beautiful out here. There's no wind, and very special and exciting for Kai and I, no bugs. So fun thing this year that I didn't so much experience last year is the bugs are out. So for anybody who's never been to Churchill, in some of the summer months, some years, the bugs are absolutely wild. Manitoba is known for their horse flies. They are very large and they can bite you. So far, no bites. I think from a horsefly for me because they do get fairly large when you get bitten. But certainly some mosquitoes, despite my best efforts. Beautiful day out the other day, but lots of large flies. I don't think Kai or myself have experienced one bug today. None at the launch and none in the boat now. So it is just a calm and a tranquil day. I'm trying to keep my excitement for being out on the water in check. But the belugas seem to also be feeling those vibes. So keep your eyes peeled. We have had at least one for sure come on the underwater cam. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled on deck, and we're just going to head up and down the shoreline here as they're kind of just maneuvering around us. Again, thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's so great to be back with you on the water. We are here on the water today till 2:15 p.m. our time, which definitely gives us a couple more hours. So we'll be here with you and looking for your comments. I noticed someone was asking about having a cello player back on the boat. To the best of my knowledge, that is not something that we're going to see from this boat this year. I heard that possibly that's something that might not be happening on the river anymore, but as far as I know, nothing's scheduled for Beluga Boat Delphi. And I'll just remind everybody on our message board, it looks like Cloud has posted an awesome update from Beluga Bits. So just saying that the snapshots you guys are taking and submitting to the Beluga Bit Citizen Science project are really making a difference. So hit that message board and check out the photos that Cloud posted. The Beluga Bits scientists have posted an update as of June 2024 this year. So check out that information. And again, as we get those guys back on the boat, I can't wait to hear about all the updates. Well, it looks like we've spotted a little feeding pod here, which will end up being just off our port or left side currently. And then you guys should see that coming up from the on deck cam shortly. And we'll see if we can't just hang out in this area and drift around and observe them feeding. Looks like our cam operators are doing a fantastic job as always. We did have a lot of whales come up there. Looked like a couple were on the underwater cam, and then a few of them just curious behind us with the motor. Um, Again, just kind of sitting here and letting them come to us as they're feeding. Lots of footage there on that on deck cam as well. They seem to sort of be all around us, and we can see some of the birds and the terns are fighting for their fish there as well. Just getting caught up on the message board here, team. Stilling, I saw your picture of the horsefly there. Heebie-jeebies. It's wild up here too, because they've been very, very nice in terms of. I'm trying to think of them as friends who are super curious, but not actually doing anything bad. So I can remain calm because I have a tendency to have a little squeal now and then because of the bugs. But the wildest thing that we've seen here is just they really like vehicles. And I'm not kidding at all. You'll be going down the road, the one road in Churchill where you can hit 80 because it's straight for a small amount of time. And they will be going 80 kilometers an hour, holding flight directly beside your window for 10 minutes or however long it takes to drive to the airport. But that's the wildest thing to see. And then when you stop, they're just banging the window. Shockingly, when you get out of the vehicle, they don't bother you much. They're curious, but like I said, not so far very bothersome. But in a vehicle, it just gives you the heebie-jeebies because they just smash onto the glass. So for those of you new and you're seeing a couple other boats out there, we do have some tour operators here in Churchill taking their Zodiacs out. And I'm just looking towards the bow right now where I'm seeing a ton of whales that are swimming towards the stern. Sorry, just turning off the volume on our computer there. But bunch of belugas, as I'm looking at the bow, are making their way towards our stern. So you guys will see a nice large pod coming out, blowing some air behind us, I think. And if we're lucky, one might stop at the camera. But the on-deck cam is going to be swarming with belugas soon, which is much better than horseflies. So please enjoy. So, fun fact I'll just share with you guys from this year that I've noticed to be different than last year is I've seen so many whale tails just being out a couple days. And again, always usually the adolescent or the babies because they're always gray. But for anybody who was a part of our group last year, it was something I was always trying to get a photo of. Like, oh, I got to get a picture of a whale tail for a beluga because other whales like humpbacks and things like that, that's your number one picture is usually a tail. And, an identifying mark for humpback whales for sure because they have spots on their tails and whatnot. But I never did manage to capture a photo of a whale tail last year. And this year, just in the couple days out, I bet you I've seen 5. Just little adolescents giving that little extra oomph as they dive down to get some fish. And we catch a little glimpse of their tail. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Looks like you guys are catching all the awesome photos so far with the underwater cam and the on-deck cam. I'm here convincing Kai that the whales remember me. So certainly we're getting that engagement back. Hello. And we've got another one coming to the camera right now. So I did just want to take an opportunity to share a couple little beluga facts for any of our new cam operators or new viewers this year. They look quite big, and they are. So just some general stats to try to remember off the top of your head. Most of the adult male or adult whales that we're going to see, so basically any of the white ones, we'll go ahead and assume that they're adults and no longer juveniles. Females, they say the smallest is about 10 feet. If we talk about the males, 14 feet. So almost every whale we see out there is 10 to 15 feet. So certainly a lot bigger than a human. And then when we incorporate their weight into that, you can really tell how girthy they are. So males being anywhere from like 1,000 to 2,200 pounds. A very small female might be around 550 all the way up to 1,500 pounds. So when you see those really big, long, thick, weighted whales, just know they are. They're probably over 2,000 pounds and 15 feet long. So it's really fun when we see a pod of 5 or 6 males coming at the boat, and you can really just see the size of them and the mass of them when they're together. I think we're going to sit here and wait a little bit longer because it looks like the feeding has kind of moved to behind us. But I do see some of the whales coming this way. So hopefully we'll stay where we are, and then we've got that footage on the on-deck cam. Well, things are brightening up here on the Churchill River. We've definitely got some blue skies looking towards the northeast, which is making those whales a heck of a lot easier to spot. The water is so calm, and it's nice to see the day warming up. I just wanted to add on to when I was speaking about how big the males and females of the population get. I noticed we've got a great picture from the on deck camera of a mom and her baby there. So super good shot by Stilling. But the babies, how big are they? What are they born at? Well, the truth is, what I learned from Dr. Stefan working at the Assiniboia Park Zoo last year, I actually don't know how big they are when they're born, or how much they weigh precisely. But the babies are approximately, if we can guess, about 5 feet when they're born, and just over 100 pounds. We've got 132 written down, but oftentimes when we see the baby whales in the wild, we don't know exactly how old they are, but what we look for as the season goes on, especially with that underwater camera, we know they're born gray and they stay that color all through their adolescence. But sometimes on our underwater camera, you can see what looks very similar to ribs on the baby belugas. They're actually called fetal folds, so they're not necessarily like a rib cage, but that's kind of what it looks like. But they're called fetal folds, and that's what they're left with for the first, couple weeks or so after being born. So anytime we see a little baby beluga with some fetal folds, we learned from Dr. Stefan that we feel very confident that they're, just a couple weeks old. So that's something we look for when we start to see those whales more close up on that beluga cam, and even sometimes we can see them just when they're coming out of the water beside their mamas. I have, additionally, I've spotted a seal to the port side of the boat. They don't seem to want much to do with us lately, though, these seals. They tend to see us and then go and hide. But now that the water is just so very nice and calm, it is making it a lot easier to spot anything in the area. So just a shout out to all the viewers and the cam ops. These photos look great, you guys. I can see them on the message board. Doing a great job. We know we can't change the color of the river. It does that on its own throughout the season, but even the underwater camera pics look really good. So great job, guys. You're just back at it like you never even were off the bike. So keep those pics coming. We sure do love to see them. Okay, we've managed to get close enough to the seal that he's continuing to swim on the surface. So he's just off the port side. I'm going to turn the boat a little bit, so I think you guys should be able to see his little black dot head on that on-deck camera there. He is just swimming towards the whales, and it's actually been really neat to see. The whales don't seem too bothered by the seal at all. The seal's actually quite close to them. Probably just, also enjoying the fishing. But really neat just to see the different species interacting and not be bothered by each other. So hopefully you guys got a good view of the feeding that's happening behind me with a little bit more of that blue sky. And if we're lucky, that seal will pop up and maybe we'll catch him as well. Looks like a harbor seal to me. Oh, and I just wanted to say a welcome back. I saw there was a little post from Sugar G Mom 21. Good to see you back again this year. Hi, it's Captain Tara. And I just realized that I spent the whole year last year calling you Sugar Gums, and it's Sugar G Mom. So really just catching up on all my pronunciation errors this year. I was sounding out UCLA Mom before I realized it was UCLA. So hello and welcome back, everyone. And I apologize if I've wrecked your name in the past. I will do my best to get them correct this year. know if you guys caught that, but if you were paying attention to the on deck cam, we just saw a tern, I believe, dove right into the water and flew right out with a fish. So definitely some capelin in the area. We're noticing that we're seeing, a whole bunch of whales on the surface, and then they all seem to sort of disappear for a hot minute, and then they all come back up after. So I think they're definitely doing some feeding with the capelin, but they're just following them as they move around. So currently, from where we're sitting, lots of feeding activity to the port or the left side of the boat. Oh, and a lot of action from the birds chasing each other for fish. So again, for those of you birders out there, what we're usually seeing in the Churchill River is terns, sometimes seagulls, and yagers, and the ducks, and sometimes geese, but mostly the geese on the road, just like the rest of the Canada. But terns are the white ones with the black heads, I believe, and the yagers are the black ones. So there's a tern flying right by us on the on-deck camera, and they will often try to steal fish from each other right out of their mouths mid-flight, and also have some fun mating calls. So Kai and I are practicing determining which are bird calls and which are whale calls right now. But you guys with the hydrophone are probably doing a little better than we are. Well, team, we're on the move, and if I'm not mistaken, I feel like all the belugas are coming with us. They're mostly off to our starboard side right now, but geez, we went to get on the move because we didn't see them and started moving, and now they're all coming with. So yeah, check out that on deck cam, starboard side or right side of the boat, and you'll see they seem to be running along beside us. So hooray, I still got it. Well, folks, hopefully you caught that. That was very exciting. We had a group of what seemed to be older males um, come not only behind the boat and under it and then in front of it, but just stuck with us for a little bit there and definitely made an appearance on the underwater camera. So that was just beautiful to see, especially as we're getting close to the end of our tour. Well, everyone, looks like it's that time of day. We're going to start making our way back to the boat launch near the port here. We've had a very wonderful start to our Beluga season. We're definitely calling it a soft start as we're working out some kinks. But we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, we are so happy and grateful to be on the water a few days early this year. We're going to have Kai joining us over the next couple weeks. I didn't pester him too much today as it's only his second day on the water. So letting him settle in and enjoy the whales a little bit. But we'll be happy to have you and bother you with more questions coming up in our next adventures, Kai. I'm just going to troll in nice and slowly here as we've got a few extra minutes. I just wanted to highlight again, we saw mamas, babies, papas, adolescents, definitely a few seals today. We saw the terns out fighting with one another and getting their fish. Unfortunately, no sea ice today, but who knows the way the wind blows. We might end up with some sea ice yet before the season's up if we get maybe a blow from the east. But if we see it, we'll be sure to get out there so we can get it on the camera for you guys. As always, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much to explore.org and Polar Bears International for providing the opportunity for us to execute this project. So grateful to be back for a second season and really looking forward to spending the summer with everyone. Thank you to the moderators and the camera operators. These guys are the heroes out there. Pointing those cameras and making sure that you guys can get all those good shots for our Beluga Bits Citizen Science Project. So I just want to shout out those moderators and cam ops. It's really nice to see some I would say familiar faces, but I guess it's familiar names. But still very, very grateful to have you guys joining us. And for those of you that are just starting out on your first year, buckle up your boots. It is going to be a great summer. We're going to have so much fun, and we're going to see just the beautiful nature that Churchill has to offer. It's going to be great. And everybody else tuning in, thanks to all of our viewers. We appreciate those snapshots. If you're not sure how to do that and you're seeing all those pictures on the message board and you want to be a part of that too, I believe the moderators have put a link right near the top of that message board where you can sign up to view and take photos of the whales, whether it be on our on-deck cam or our below-deck cam. Finally, if you have some extra time to kill, because we do only run the Beluga boat 4 hours a day around the high tide and low tide, do check out some of the other awesome live cameras on explore.org right now. I've been watching the bears in Alaska. I've been highlighted on the live cams lately, and I'm a big fan of nest flicks as well, so you can see basically any kind of bird you're interested in having chicks depending on the time of year. And it's often better viewing than Netflix programming. So try to tune into Nestflix. Take a hot minute to go through explore.org, check out the current live cams, and then I always challenge people to ask any child in their life what their favorite animal is, and you can probably pull up a live video on your phone through explore.org. So a nice little trick if anybody's got some kids or grandkids out there, something fun to do. And for those of you also who might just be joining us, do gear up for our Tundra Connections and Polar Bear cameras coming up later on in the year. You can watch highlights from last year and get an idea of what you're in for just in the surrounding Churchill area. It's a very magical place for nature. So that will be it for Captain Tara today. Again, I want to thank my partner on the boat today, Kai. It was great to have you.
Thank you, Captain Tara, for a great ride.
And I would please encourage you guys to join us tomorrow. We are going to be on the water from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time here in Manitoba. So weather permitting, weather looks good for tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time on Friday, July 12th. So please join us then. This is Captain Tara signing off for the day. Cameras should be running for a couple more minutes as we make our way into port, but we will hopefully tune in with you tomorrow. So enjoy your day, everyone. Bye.